What awaits beyond the final breath? Does our sense of self vanish into nothingness, or does it traverse realms beyond human understanding? Welcome, seeker of truth, to a journey into the unknown. Today, we explore one of the most profound and mysterious texts in Tibetan Buddhism, the Bardo Thodol, commonly known in the West as the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Picture a guide that walks with you through the most profound and mysterious transitions of existence. That's the essence of the Bardo Thodol. Far more than a simple manual on death, it serves as a spiritual roadmap, illuminating the path through what lies beyond our final moments. Together, we'll delve into its teachings, decode its wisdom, and perhaps uncover a deeper understanding of existence itself. This remarkable text originates from Padmasambhava, a revered and legendary figure in Tibetan Buddhism. Born in India, he is celebrated as the visionary who introduced Buddhism to Tibet in the 8th century. Tibetan traditions honor him as Guru Rinpoche, the precious master. But Padmasambhava was much more than a monk. He was a master of profound spiritual insight, a yogi who had perfected mystical practices and esoteric wisdom. The Bardo Thodol reflects his dedication to guiding both the living and the dead, offering a pathway to liberation even beyond death. From a young age, Padmasambhava exhibited extraordinary spiritual talents, recognized as a Mahasiddha, one who attains an exceptional level of spiritual realization and mastery over miraculous abilities, or Siddhis. His journey led him to Tibet at the invitation of King Trisong Detsen, who sought to establish Buddhism as a unifying spiritual force in his kingdom. At that time, Tibet was steeped in shamanic traditions and animist practices rooted in the Bon religion, the region's indigenous spiritual system. This complex and diverse spiritual environment posed challenges to Buddhism's integration. Upon his arrival, Padmasambhava encountered resistance from various local spiritual traditions. Using his mastery of tantric rituals and esoteric knowledge, he is said to have subdued the spirits and deities of Bon, harmonizing their energies to pave the way for Buddhism's acceptance and growth in Tibet. The integration of Bon spiritual practices and deities into Tibetan Buddhism was a pivotal step in establishing a strong and enduring spiritual framework in Tibet. Through this fusion, Padmasambhava laid the foundation for Tibetan Buddhism by creating its first monastery, Sami Monastery. Here, he introduced profound teachings on the mind, reality, and the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, known as samsara. In Tibetan Buddhism, death is viewed not as an ending, but as a transitional phase, a moment brimming with the potential for spiritual awakening. Padmasambhava understood that at the time of death, the mind enters a unique state, unburdened by the distractions of the physical body, making it more open to ultimate truths. He recognized this as a rare opportunity for liberation. However, he also realized that most individuals, overwhelmed by fear and illusions, failed to grasp this chance. His mission was to create a guide to assist the dying, one that could be read aloud by those attending the transition or studied in life, to prepare the mind for the bardos, the intermediate states that follow death. His vision was rooted in compassion, to alleviate suffering and open pathways to enlightenment, even in the face of uncertainty and dissolution. This guiding principle became the essence of the Bardo Thodol. Padmasambhava also understood that not everyone achieves enlightenment during their lifetime. Yet, he saw in death a final opportunity for realization. His teachings included detailed instructions to help practitioners and their disciples recognize the clear light, a pure expression of consciousness, at the moment of death, offering a final gateway to liberation. The Bardo Thodol outlines 3 key transitional states, or bardos, that every soul encounters. 1. The Chikhai Bardo, the moment of death. This stage begins at the precise moment of death, where the physical body dissolves and consciousness is freed from its earthly confines. During this transition, the soul encounters the primordial clear light, an immense radiant light symbolizing the mind's absolute nature. This state of pure, boundless awareness transcends all dualities, fears, and attachments. Some describe it as the higher self, while others equate it to infinite peace or universal consciousness. However, for those unprepared, the overwhelming brilliance of the clear light can provoke fear. Instead of embracing it as their essence, the unprepared mind perceives it as threatening. This fear, coupled with attachments to the familiar, drives the soul to retreat, missing the opportunity for liberation. From here, the soul moves into the subsequent bardos, facing increasingly complex and restrictive visions shaped by its karmic patterns. The Chönyid Bardo, the realm of visions. Carl Gustav Jung once observed that gods and demons are reflections of the unconscious, forces that remain unavoidable until they are recognized as aspects of our inner selves. The Chönyid Bardo represents this concept in a vivid and profound way. In this bardo, the soul exists beyond the constraints of the physical body, entering a realm where traditional boundaries dissolve. Within this dimension, the mind becomes a mirror, projecting all its desires, fears, and repressed emotions in the form of powerful visions. These visions can appear as radiant, angelic figures or as unsettling, nightmarish entities. What emerges here is a reflection of the soul's accumulated karmic and emotional states, intensified and unfiltered. The Chönyid Bardo unfolds in two primary stages: peaceful visions and wrathful visions. Peaceful visions. At first, the soul encounters peaceful manifestations of the mind's enlightened qualities. These visions may take the form of serene deities, Buddhas, or radiant beings that embody positive energies cultivated through lifetimes of spiritual growth. Their presence is soothing, offering calmness and a sense of transcendence. For those prepared and attuned to the nature of these visions, they represent an opportunity to embrace the truth of the mind's essence and move toward liberation. However, an unprepared soul may find these visions incomprehensible or overwhelming. Failing to recognize their essential nature, the soul might retreat in confusion or fear, losing the chance for deeper realization. Wrathful visions. If the soul cannot connect with the peaceful visions, it transitions into the next stage, where more intense and challenging imagery arises. These wrathful visions are dramatic and frightening, often taking monstrous or chaotic forms. They are not external entities or malevolent forces, but rather projections of the mind's own anger, fear, and unresolved desires. The wrathful visions reflect the passions and attachments that continue to tether the soul to the cycle of samsara, or suffering. These forms are not meant to punish, but to illuminate the inner struggles that require acknowledgement, integration, or transcendence. The nature of the Chönyid Bardo. This state is one of pure mental manifestation where the mind's energies are unrestrained by physical limits. The clarity and intensity of the visions are striking, akin to lucid dreams yet far more vivid and direct. Without the distractions of the material world, the mind confronts its inner truths with unparalleled intensity. While these experiences can be unsettling, they are also profound opportunities for spiritual insight. Each vision, whether peaceful or wrathful, represents an aspect of the self that calls for understanding. Those who can maintain awareness and clarity in this bardo recognize that these visions, both comforting and frightening, are mere projections of their own mind. In this realization lies the potential for liberation as the soul moves closer to understanding its true nature. The recognition of this essential truth allows the soul to dissolve its fears and attain liberation. At this stage, the Bardo Thodol encourages the soul to focus on the clear light, the primordial essence of the mind, described as a vast, unblemished radiance. The key to ultimate liberation lies in recognizing this light, for it represents the inherent nature of all beings. It is the sun that shines through the clouds of illusions, remaining constant and undisturbed despite all mental projections. If the soul can see beyond the illusions of the visions, it can achieve enlightenment and transcend the cycle of rebirth. However, recognizing the clear light is no easy feat for the ordinary mind. For most beings, the visions are so vivid and charged with personal meaning that it becomes incredibly difficult to see beyond them. This is why the Bardo Thodol advises spiritual practitioners to train themselves during their lives to detach from illusions and contemplate the true nature of the mind. With such preparation, even when faced with the intense visions of the Chönyid Bardo, they will be able to remain focused on the clear light and find peace. Fear and attachment are the greatest obstacles to liberation. The intensity of these visions, particularly the wrathful deities representing untamed aspects of the psyche, can evoke deep fear. This fear creates a sense of separation, preventing the soul from recognizing the visions as expressions of itself. The soul may either try to escape from these visions or become attached to certain ones, particularly the peaceful ones, keeping it bound to the cycle of samsara. To overcome this cycle, the soul must see the visions for what they are, empty of independent reality. This concept, known as shunyata or emptiness in Tibetan Buddhism, teaches that the mind can acknowledge all visions without attachment, recognizing them as temporary manifestations of its own nature. The Chönyid Bardo, therefore, is not a punishment or meaningless suffering, but rather a stage of profound revelation where the soul faces a mirror of its own mind. It is a test that separates those ready for liberation from those who need further rebirths to deepen their learning and understanding. 3. The Sidpa Bardo. Rebirth. In the Sidpa Bardo, the final stage of the journey after death, the soul faces a pivotal moment, the decision of its next form of existence. This choice is shaped by the accumulated energy of its past actions, thoughts, and intentions, what we commonly call karma. It is as if all the experiences leading up to this point have culminated here, with the soul's inner state determining its next path. Having already experienced dissolution in the Chikhai Bardo and encountered its own projections in the Chönyid Bardo, the soul now enters a denser, more emotionally charged state. Here, the desire for rebirth grows stronger, driven by unresolved attachments and fears that remain untranscended. In Tibetan Buddhist teachings, this intense longing for a new life is what compels the soul to seek a new body, a new incarnation. The soul's consciousness in the Sidpa Bardo is influenced by the karmic imprints left by past actions. These imprints act as subtle forces, drawing the soul toward experiences and conditions that reflect its inner state. For example, if the soul is filled with fear, it may be drawn toward a rebirth that forces it to confront that fear once again. Similarly, deep desires and unresolved emotional conflicts create an energy vortex that shapes the kind of life the soul will experience in the next cycle. During this phase, the soul experiences visions that are linked to the process of rebirth. These often include symbolic images of couples uniting, representing the creation of new life. In these moments, the soul is called to choose its next body, guided unconsciously by its emotional tendencies and karmic inclinations. The Bardo Thodol advises the soul to remain detached and lucid at this point. Only through maintaining clarity can the soul avoid being pulled into an undesirable or ill-fated rebirth. For those who can sustain inner calm and detachment, the Sidpa Bardo offers one last opportunity for liberation. It is still possible to avoid rebirth altogether and choose the path of enlightenment. This is the goal of the spiritual practitioner, to see the visions for what they are, projections of the mind that are fleeting and empty. By recognizing their impermanent nature, the soul can transcend the cycle of rebirth. Throughout the Sidpa Bardo, the soul feels a strong, almost irresistible pull toward a new body, a process likened to a psychic storm. It is as if the soul's urge to continue existing in some form becomes overwhelmingly powerful. The choice of a new body is not a conscious one. It arises from deep instinctual impulses, influenced by the soul's unresolved desires and karmic traits. The new body serves as a mirror of what the soul needs to resolve or experience in its next incarnation. This process reflects the Buddhist view that each rebirth is an opportunity for spiritual progress. The body chosen is most aligned with the soul's karmic and spiritual development. However, many are unaware of this opportunity and may be reborn into difficult circumstances, perpetuating suffering. Those who can see beyond this illusion, however, may merge into the clear light, the ultimate essence of the mind. instead of being reborn. According to the Bardo Thodol, preparation for this final stage begins during life. By reflecting on our desires and fears while alive, we become more aware of the forces shaping our future. Spiritual practices like meditation and contemplation on death strengthen our ability to detach, helping us remain unbound by the powerful currents of the Sidpa Bardo. Ultimately, the Sidpa Bardo reveals a simple yet profound truth. Life and death are inseparably linked, and the cycle of rebirth is merely a continuation of our own choices and perceptions. By freeing ourselves from attachment, we break free from the cycle and attain enlightenment, a state where the illusion of a fixed identity no longer governs us. The Bardo Thodol is not just a spiritual text, but a tool for self-awareness, a mirror of our mind, and a map guiding our destiny. It teaches us that while death marks the end of one phase, it is also a gateway to new beginnings. As Ram Dass once said, the only question that truly matters at the moment of death is, how much did you love? The Tibetan Book of the Dead encourages us to examine our own lives with deep introspection. Are we ready for the inevitable journey ahead? Are we truly prepared to release everything we hold on to about ourselves? By reflecting on these profound teachings, we may not only find ways to prepare for death, but also discover how to live more fully. If this exploration into the mysteries of existence resonated with you, consider sharing this video and subscribing to the channel. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What fascinates you most about the concept of life after death? The journey of self-discovery is ongoing, and together, we can continue to unravel life's greatest mysteries. Thank you for being part of this exploration.